Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. The international break is over. It's done. It's finished. We can return to club football this weekend. Celtic take on Dundee. I couldn't be more delighted to have Celtic back. And some good news has come alongside that, as Brendan Rodgers has given us a very positive injury update. So let's talk about that. If you haven't already, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. It would be much appreciated. We're now on that road to 50,000 subscribers. So jump down below, hit both of those buttons. It's absolutely free and it would be much appreciated. The international break is done, and if you know me, I am just very happy about that. I hate international breaks. I hate international football unless it's the World Cup or the Euros. Taking Celtic away from me is the worst thing that you can do. So I'm glad that it's finished with, and we can return back to talking about Celtic, talking about club football. I know a lot of people might want to hear my opinions of last night's game. Of course, it finished Scotland 1, England 3. All I can say is, after some of the discourse I've seen on Twitter over the past day or two, I hope Scotland and England never play again. And that's nothing to do with the football itself or the quality on the park or the opposition we faced. That's just to do with some of the tweets and opinions and fantasies that I have seen over the past 24 hours. So let's put all of that in the past. I don't care. It's time to move on. It's time to talk about the real thing. It's time to talk about Celtic. Brendan Rodgers spoke to Celtic TV yesterday in an exclusive interview where he has given us a very positive injury update in regards to obviously those players who are on the sidelines right now. We've had some incredibly bad luck to start our season. We've had a few key players drop off to the side with injuries, some more severe than others. But Brendan Rodgers has given us generally quite a positive update on the majority of those players. So we're going to talk about all of those updates today in this video, but we're going to break it down. We're going to keep it simple here and talk about the positives that Celtic get from that as we head into now a very big week for the club. Of course, Dundee on Saturday, which you can never underestimate the importance of. You know, we need to carry on that great feeling that we got from the derby win at Ibrox, and then on Tuesday we're off to Rotterdam to start our Champions League campaign. So the sooner these players are back, the better. The better the results we get, the more confident we can be. Generally, I just want everything to be a positive environment for Celtic at the moment. Reo Hatate. Let's start with him, because amongst all of these injuries and amongst all of the bad news that has come to us, for some reason I feel like Reo Hatate's has kind of went under the radar, because defensively it's been a nightmare. I feel like everywhere else in the park and everybody else who's been injured has kind of been forgotten about just because of the defensive crisis we've been in. But remember, arguably our best player, Reo Hatate, has been injured for the past few weeks, but it doesn't seem like he's too far away from a return. Brendan Rodgers spoke about him in that interview yesterday. This is what he had to say. He said that Reo Hatate is now back training with the squad, which is great news. His energy has been really good. He's worked really hard since he picked up that injury at Aberdeen. I'm really pleased he's back. He's a top midfield player. His mind is really focused now on playing in the team and doing very well. So there you go, a very positive update to start off on Reo Hatate. Now obviously he hasn't pinpointed an exact date for his return, whether that be Saturday or after that, but what I hope from these comments is, even if he misses out on Saturday, I hope he's back in time for that huge game on Tuesday against Feyenoord, and I think that he could be. It does sound optimistic. It sounds like he's back and ready to go. Brendan Rodgers saying he's focused on playing games. That for me sounds like we're now ready for him to return. So I'm not all that bothered if he's there on Saturday or not. It would be great if he is, but if he's back for Tuesday, that's a massive boost and a massive reason for confidence heading into that game against Feyenoord. He's had a very, very stop and start season so far. It's been a great shame because we know how good a player Reo Hatate can be. But one thing we have missed while he's been injured is that midfield fluidity. And with him in the midfield, you notice the difference. It's night and day. He brings that quality that rubs off on everyone around him. It rubs off on McGregor. It rubs off on O'Reilly. There is that, once again, fluidity that comes into the midfield. And I think at times we've been very rigid in there. We haven't looked as smooth as we would normally be in the midfield area. with him coming back, I hope that we see a significant improvement in that. So that was the first update on Reo Hatate. It looks as though that he will be back very soon, maybe as soon as Saturday. Who knows? Maybe he'll come off the bench. But you can't, we can't underestimate how good a player he is. He will change the way that we play football when he's back in this team. And hopefully with him coming back, we then, sooner rather than later, hear some news about a potential contract extension for Reo Hatate. So let's hope his form returns. Let's hope a contract comes in as well. I can't wait to have him back. Nat Phillips, we also had a brief update on him, and potentially we'll see his debut for Celtic on Saturday against Dundee. Brendan Rodgers very simply said Nat Phillips again training with the squad, so he'll hopefully be available for the weekend. Now, obviously, a big question that comes with that is, should Liam Scales be dropped after his brilliant performance at Ibrox? Should it be as simple as Nat Phillips coming in for Liam Scales? If he's ready, yes. Simply put, yes. He probably should be. I know a lot of people are a big fan of Liam Scales and they think he deserves these chances, and I'm absolutely not saying he doesn't, because he was brilliant at Ibrox. But once again, we've signed a player here who's meant to improve the team, and we can't be naive about things after one good performance. We've been in this position multiple times as Celtic fans where we get hyped up and confident on one's abilities, which we knew maybe weren't quite the standard for Celtic, and then after one performance, like, oh, he's the best thing from sliced bread. I think Nat Phillips, if fit, comes straight into that team. Partners Gustav Lagerbielke on Saturday. So we'll just need to wait and see. Phillips is here to be the partner to Cameron Carter-Vickers, most likely, when he's back from injury. So he needs to come into the team. We need to get him into the team ahead of Feyenoord on Tuesday. Saturday's the perfect time to do that. The good news is, though, he is ready to play. He is here. It's not going to be a waste of time. This 6-month loan deal that we signed, I was hoping that we did see him at Ibrox. It's good if we see him on Saturday, but a good update on him. Also talking about centre-halves, and we mentioned his name a moment ago, Cameron Carter-Vickers. We got quite an important update on him, because I know that everybody wants him back, everybody loves him, and for maybe a majority of you watching this video, he could be the most important player in the Celtic team. Brendan Rodgers said this: Cameron Carter-Vickers is still a little bit away. He'll be more early October before he's back, but he's on the grass and working well, which for me is an incredibly positive update on Cameron Carter-Vickers, considering how long he could have potentially been out when we first heard the news of his injury and the extent of the injury. I think that's fantastic news. If he's back early October, he'll miss that first game against Feyenoord, the Champions League, and it might be a rush to get him back for the following Champions League game as well. What's most important is the fact that he's back on grass, and the injury doesn't seem to be as significant as what I initially worried. So, yeah, get him eased back into training, get him eased back into the team. It's fantastic news, because it does give you that comfort knowing that for the majority of this Champions League group stage campaign, Vickers will be back. If he misses the Feyenoord game, fair enough. Maybe misses match day 2, but match day 3 onwards, he should be fit, back and ready to play in this team. So, yeah, we're halfway through September as it is, so you're talking 3 more weeks a push of Vickers being out injured, which is fantastic. So I'm glad to hear he's back training. Another good update on him. Sooner rather than later, we're going to have that Cameron Carter-Vickers and Nat Phillips partnership, I think. On that note, a bit more of a negative. Our partnership at the back is meant to be Cameron Carter-Vickers and Mike Navrocki. Mike Navrocki wasn't even mentioned in this update. His name wasn't brought up, which to me signals that his injury might be a little more serious and he might be out a little bit longer. At first, when both of them got injured, Cameron Carter-Vickers and Mike Navrocki, we heard that they were going to be out for a similar period of time. I think that after further assessment and knowing more about it now, with Navrocki also being left out of the Champions League squad, his injury seems to be a lot more serious and he could be out a lot longer. And now it seems to be a reason that he's not brought up to justify why he's been left out of that Champions League squad. Maybe because he's not going to be back for another couple of months. Brendan Rodgers has to go into specifics about Mike Navrocki. There's no point in jumping to conclusions here. I'm sure that this is the kind of thing that will be poked at press conferences over the next few weeks before games. But in this interview, he doesn't mention him, doesn't give us an update. So not as positive a news on the Navrocki front. But I guess with now the possibility from October onwards having Vickers, Phillips, Lagerbielke and Scales fit, at least that's you got 4 centre-halves until Navrocki and Welsh are back. And finally, we did hear a little bit on Marco Tilio, and if he's going to be joining up with Celtic anytime soon on the park in games that we can witness in the flesh. It doesn't look as though it's going to be imminently by any stretch of the imagination, but it does seem like he will be eventually here sometime over the next few weeks to actually watch and judge. This was the update. Marco Tilio, again, back in with the squad. It's going to take him a little bit of time to get up to speed. So it sounds like he's back in training, that he's on the grass, that he's doing everything he has to, just needs to get up to speed with the rest of the side, which is totally understandable considering the extent of injury he had and the length of time he was out. So once again, more details will probably come in future press conferences and such, but he's not dead. He will join us at some point. So that's it for the squad injury update from Brendan Rodgers yesterday. Mostly good news, I would say. I'm still kind of gutted about the Navrocki situation. I really want him and Cameron Carter-Vickers to get as much game time together and establish a partnership, but we're going to have to just be patient and wait for that. Aside from that, though, the fact that we're hearing about Hatate being back imminently and Cameron Carter-Vickers back in early October, 2 massive bits of news. Delighted, and hopefully we're playing with a full strength side very, very soon. So yeah, keep in touch with the channel for more updates as we head into Dundee on Saturday. It's good to be back, but for now that's going to do it. So like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.